Well, all right, we're back taking a continued journey through hell, and we're actually going over the words that were translated into the English word hell. And this is going to be popular objections to the reconciliation of all things, number 11. So we've been going over the Hebrew words Sheol and the Greek words Hades, Gehenna, and Tartaruo or Tartarus. And we're actually going to read an excerpt from the book of George Sarris, Heaven's Doors. He does a little concise few paragraphs here that's kind of right in the theme of what we're talking about. So we're going to borrow from him and lean on his writings. And we'll jump right on in here. So he says, in a similar way, the word hell has been used so often and for so long to mean unending agony after death, that it conjures up a whole host of images that were never contained in the original English word, and especially not in the underlying Hebrew and Greek words in the Bible. The term hell comes from a word that originally meant to cover or hide. That's what the English word hell originally meant, to cover or hide. If you lived in England centuries ago and put on a hat to go outside, you'd tell people you were helling your head. If your trade was putting slate roofs on houses, you'd be called a hellier. Hell was the name given to the place under a courtroom where the king's debtors were confined. It was also the place where a tailor flung his leftover scraps of cloth. The original meaning of the word had nothing to do with after-death punishment. Translation from one language to another is also difficult because all words have a range of meanings. For example, the English word run can mean an activity that an athlete engages in, a tear in a woman's stocking, something done to a bank when it's in danger of having no money, or scoring a point in a baseball game. The context is often the only thing that will let you know what the word actually means in a sentence. When translating the word run into another language, translators need to be very careful that they don't confuse their readers. In the Bible, 4 different words are actually translated from Hebrew or Greek to the English word hell. And do you know most Christians, the average Christian, just does not know that? They just pick up an English Bible and just start to read, and they see all this hell everywhere, and they have these preconceived ideas in their mind of what all that means, and so we come up with this false doctrine of this eternal hell. Well, we need to study to show ourselves approved and be a Berean and search the Scriptures daily in their true meaning. So, they are Sheol, Hades, Gehenna, and Tartarus. As would be expected, they have completely different ranges of meaning in their original languages. Sheol and Hades refer to the grave. Gehenna was a garbage dump outside Jerusalem, and Tartarus was an underworld place of imprisonment. That fact alone should cause us to ask why such different words with very different histories and ranges of meaning are each commonly translated to only one word in English, hell. So he does a good job right there to just in a nutshell tell you, okay, the English word hell had an original meaning that now we use this word hell and it has a different meaning. It's evolved into something totally different. So you need to go back to the roots of the original English word hell and see what that meant. And then you need to look up and understand the Hebrew word Sheol and the Greek words Hades, Gehenna, and Tartarus. And there you'll begin to see the mystery unravel. You'll begin to see, why that, much of Christianity today has come to believe in this, what they teach, this never-ending hell, this place of torture, because the gospel has really evolved into a different message today. The apostles, let's go back a little bit. The prophets, the apostles, Jesus, the apostle Paul, none of them really spoke a message like we hear today. They didn't go around saying, hey, I'm coming to you today. I'm just seeing who wants to go to heaven forever and who wants to go to hell forever, and give an altar call and try to get people out of hell. That's not how they talked. I mean, if you look in the Apostle Paul's writings, the only time that the word hell was used, and they didn't even translate it hell, they actually translated it correctly in that spot as grave. The only time it's even used, he says that it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be done away with. He says, O death, where is your sting? O grave, Hades, hell, where is your victory? So Paul actually told us that ultimately the Lord is going to be victorious over the grave, or Hades, or hell. And he holds the keys to death, hell, and the grave. And he has conquered it. He has conquered it by rising from the dead, and has guaranteed a resurrection for all in the fullness of time, that they can come to know him. Some on this side of the grave, and it's going to be a lot on the other side of the grave. But God has made provision even for those on the other side of the grave. So this will just be a little short, concise teaching here. And we'll continue our journey through hell next time, and we're going to look more specifically at the Greek word Gehenna.